Where in the world are women really marginalised? In the West, there's the glass ceiling. Latin countries, all that macho stuff. Then there's the Middle East, or Africa, the big man culture. You probably don't think first of Asia, all those women presidents and prime ministers. But there is also a silk ceiling. In the apartment she shares with friends, 25-year-old Ritu Bhardawaj is expecting visitors. It's 3 in the afternoon. The kids are leaving school. But these kids are not going to play. One day, Ritu wants to work for UNICEF. She's already helping underprivileged kids. 3 days a week, she helps them with their homework.
J for jug, K for kite, L for lion, M for mango.
Ritu herself comes from a modest background in Haryana state. But here, she's already a star.
When I grow up, I will be just like you.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
Why Ritu seems so glamorous? She's made it. And in a country that doesn't always favour ambitious girls, no matter how hard-working. This small-town girl is now an up-and-coming journalist on national TV channel News X. We filmed her making her next big report. What it's about? Why so few South Asian women have a future as bright as hers.
When men and women have relative equality, the economies grow faster, and every person can contribute to their country's progress. India needs to work on improving the status of women while ensuring greater gender equality. The work that is being done needs to be speeded up, and there is a greater need for intervention at the policy level. This is Ritu Bhardawaj reporting on India's silk ceiling.
Ritu specialises in women's rights. The silk ceiling that stops so many women getting jobs like hers. And more harrowing stories, female feticide, trafficking, and other kinds of violence and exploitation.
Though India has developed in various fields like economically, technically, in every field, but the women are still discriminated in the society. In the smaller cities, like where I'm from, the girls are basically facing like feticide, infanticide, and discrimination, illiteracy. There are many problems they're facing. But in the like metro cities like Delhi and Bombay, the basic thing they are suffering is like right to survival, or you can say right to security.
We gave Ritu a sneak preview of a new UN report about women in Asia. Power, voice and rights. It shows women have a worse deal than men in politics, the law and jobs, even when economies are booming. And there's a wider message.
It is in men's interests to bring about greater gender empowerment because the economy will be bigger, the economy will be better, people will live better and happier lives. So it is in everybody's interest.
We followed Ritu as she made a film about the report for News X. There's plenty more source material in the papers. She starts by heading for Delhi's red light district. Ritu's chasing the story of Rekha, as the press are calling her, a woman campaigning on HIV and child abuse who's been revealing the secrets of life in the sex industry. The sex trade where exploitation's most visible and shocking. At 25, Rekha's the same age as Ritu and has her own kids. She was rescued from a brothel in the red light area on GB Road. She became destitute in an earthquake in Latur, 1,500 kilometres away. She was effectively held captive for 7 years and now battles with AIDS. Unlike many women here, Rekha has decided to tell her story.
Where are you from and how did you get here?
Well, I met this woman who told me that I would have to do what they wanted or else they would kill me. I insisted that they should let me go back home to Latur. Then they started to beat up my kids. When they started doing that, I was forced into this work. One day I told the woman, I'm very sick, please get me a doctor or let me go home. She told me she didn't care if I died. I decided then to run away. The NGO that helped me got me medical treatment and also tested me for AIDS. I was HIV positive, and at the same time I was also suffering from TB.
Do you think that women are still weak in India and have not got rights in comparison to the men?
It is really tough for uneducated women, and many times there is no support for them from their families, especially if there are 3 or 4 children to be fed at home. This makes the uneducated woman even more vulnerable.
After meeting with Rekha, I'm left thinking about the life that she has today, living with AIDS, and I wonder what her fault is. Her childhood is stolen from her. She was thrown into a life of darkness, from where it was tough for her to escape. Every day, so many women like Rekha are taken from their homes to be used as a commodity. And they are the ones who face the consequences of poverty and starvation the most. I want to question what our government and society has been doing to solve this problem.
Ritu doesn't want her film to be just about the sex trade. But these stories are hard to ignore. And the very next morning, there's another. A girl rescued from a red light doorstep.
She's only 10 years old. She's from Sikkim. And she was brought by a woman whom this child doesn't know. She was listening something that she was will be sold for 25 lakh rupees. She ran away through a window. Suddenly, a beat constable saw this child who was crying. This child is so lucky because she was rescued just outside the brothel. If anyone could have taken this child upstairs, we could never have saved this child.
Sad stories, so far. But Ritu wants to show both victims and role models. So she's here to tell the story of Sunita. There are 40,000 auto rickshaw drivers in Delhi. Former child bride Sunita, who'd fled a violent marriage, was the first female auto rickshaw driver.
My whole family is uneducated. I have been driving an auto rickshaw for 5 years, and some of my family does not know this. Society asks many questions. They ask me, why do you wear this work dress? Why are you in a man's role? And you should behave like a traditional Indian woman. I don't care for what society says. I let them say what they want. I am not the old Sunita who wouldn't dare to leave the 4 walls of her house. When I wear my uniform and work, I feel very powerful.
Reverence for women, in their right place, goes back a long way in India. It's the festival of Navratri. For 9 days, men and women celebrate the incarnations of a female goddess. Warrior, mother of the universe. TV reporter Ritu's back in the office. She wants to widen her film out. She's busy finding stories of women marginalised and exploited, and more surprising statistics. Ritu's been talking to fellow filmmakers in Southeast Asia's most populous country, largely Muslim Indonesia. They've been sending her their own stories.
Like there are three ladies who are sitting in a room, or they are talking to each other, and I don't know what are they talking about.
The most high profile, a message from Ayu Utami. She's the leading novelist who shocked many Indonesians with the frankness of her language, by mixing political and gender issues, and by making this personal declaration.
I choose not to get married, and I declare outwardly that I will never get married unless the marriage law is revised according to gender equality.
Yeah, like she's a very confident and like very brave girl, and really like her thinking is really nice. She's in the society she's being a role model.
For some Indonesian women, Ayu's novel Saman was a new way of looking at gender, shocking to some, an inspiration to others.
Yeah, I think Saman is really a broad discussion about sex relation, marriage, the relation between man and woman, and also homosexual life, lesbian, everything there. And that's really, I think, encourage people who have a same idea that marriage for women is not the only choice in life, like promoted by the government and by the marriage law.
Ayu's political message: even when women do have a stake in the economy, lack of political clout means they're easily manipulated and subject to all kinds of discrimination.
Without the political power, without even the access to decision-making, the woman's strength in economic life becomes vulnerable of being manipulated by others. That explains the discrimination and objectification of women that still exists in Indonesia.
The filming Ritu's been sent from Indonesia shows how women can be manipulated. Record numbers of Southeast Asian women are moving to cities. Most had worked on farms, though less than 1 in 10 had run one. For many women, it's empowering to be in the city, a career, an independent life. But there are shanty towns, even in the heart of the urban dream.
There is a gap, between people in the city and in the rural, and the gap between the rich and the poor is so wide. And we have 10 million people still living under poverty line in Indonesia. And the government failed to provide a job for them and provide a basic need for them.
With jobs for uneducated women limited, many are lured into the leisure industry.
There are people who go to the villages and hire these women, only to send them to karaoke bars in cities like right here in Jakarta.
But they don't always end up in Jakarta. Some 4 million Indonesians work abroad. Most are women with no education beyond primary school.
80% mayoritas.
The majority, 80% of migrant workers from Indonesia are women. They come from villages, the provinces of Indonesia, from farming communities. That's the profile of our migrant workers.
But women migrants are even more easily exploited abroad than at home. So the next story for Ritu's film about women in Southeast Asia, a girl we'll call E.
I'm 18 years old. I wanted to complete my schooling, but there wasn't enough money. So I was persuaded to go and work in a foreign country. I was promised a job abroad as a housekeeper or in a cafe or maybe a restaurant.
For those who are undereducated, they become victims. Maybe because women are less educated, only primary school graduates, or maybe not even that. Well, maybe they are a bit pretty. And there you go, they are the ones who become victims, trafficking victims, who end up being prostituted.
Dan seringkali mereka diminta mendandatangani.
And often they are asked to sign a blank paper. Blank paper.
Makanya di kisaran perempuan.
So among the women who are migrant workers, some of these migrant workers, they work in a kind of bondage without actually being in debt.
Terikat hutang.
And we can consider that to be trafficking, trading in humans.
Lured to Malaysia, E was trapped into selling sex.
Because at first I did not want to work, there were days they pulled my hair. I was thrown against the wall. I was beaten, slapped, even locked up for 3 days without food or water because I did not want to work as a commercial sex worker. But what hurt me most was they sold my virginity.
The International Convention on the Protection of Migrant Workers could help protect women working abroad. The Indonesian government has signed the convention, but not yet ratified it. Critics say it fears the convention might limit the number of women going abroad and the cash they send back home.
Apa gunanya meratifikasi?
What is the point of the Indonesian government ratifying this convention? Well, it is of the utmost importance to provide a standard of protection for Indonesian migrant workers abroad.
The Indonesian government is working on ratification, and there are regional agreements and controls on labour agencies. But critics say the underlying problems remain: poverty and women's lack of political power.
Women should be involved in politics and the economy. But it's not just about helping women. It's also about improving the whole quality of life. I believe that the elimination of poverty would be more effective if the status of women, especially poor women, became the whole target of poverty eradication.
Polls show that when women are selected as candidates, people will vote for them. But less than 1 in 5 of Indonesia's elected lawmakers are women. Perhaps that's less surprising when you consider 1 in 7 adult Indonesian women still can't read or write. Back in Delhi, TV reporter Ritu knows the problems. Now she wants answers. And she's found some in Gujarat, where some women are defying traditional roles. The Siddi tribe in Gujarat are descendants of migrant workers. Their families came hundreds of years ago from Africa. Some of the Siddi men now make a living out of tradition with their tales of fighting lions. But the women, Ritu knows that's a different story. And tired as she already is, she's determined to film it. Listen for the lions, but no time to look. Even in Gir's famous national park, Ritu's busy researching human behaviour. She's here to film how the women of the pack can assert themselves. In Jambur village, women used to live, well, much like women have done for centuries right across Asia.
What was it like earlier and what happened next?
Our life was very tough. We had just one set of clothes. We'd go to wash it by the river. We'd first wash our clothes, and after those dried, we would wash our undergarments. After this, we would head home and arrange for the firewood and then make the chapatis. Our husbands would come home and complain about the food not being ready. That's how we were betrayed by life. We were discouraged and saddened and desperately wanted a solution.
Ritu's here to meet the woman they like to call Hereby Ben Lobi, Diamond of the Forest. The forest diamond tells Ritu about the old days when the city lived in the forest and women were harassed and exploited, until the forest diamond realized something.
So what happened in the jungle?
When the girls of our village went to the forest to collect firewood, the forester used to harass them a lot. When the girls used to run away from the jungle, they used to get injured. Our young girls were also sexually harassed. So I realized that we should not go into the forest to collect wood anymore. Instead, we needed to save our money up. But the bank would not open accounts for us since some of us could not read or write. They asked us, "Who will fill your deposit slips?" I was outraged and I told them that from tomorrow, all the women will be able to fill the slip.
It worked. The forest diamond and her friends formed a cooperative. Their savings fund businesses, their businesses. Opposition, yes, but diamonds don't fade away.
Did the people in the village try and help you or try and stop you?
Yes, they did try to stop me. But I didn't stop. I asked myself, what do women need the most? If women need money and they don't have any property, the land belongs to the man and the houses also belong to the man. I figured then I need to ensure that the women also own some property. That way they at least have some confidence in themselves.
Now, unusual in South Asia, 900 village women hold assets in their own names.
Today, through our women's cooperative bank, the women have access to money. And the men come and ask their wives if they can borrow some money, say 1,000 to 1,500 rupees, and the women are able to access this instantly. So their position has vastly improved, and there has been a lot of improvement in the village too.
Jambur, Ritu finds, is a thriving village, thanks partly to HERE and the cooperative. Money from the co-op even helps the village school. If more women went to school and got paid jobs, it's been estimated the Asia-Pacific region could be $90 billion a year better off. And traditions not forgotten, including Gandhi's favourite hymn, known abroad as the one in Slumdog Millionaire. Tradition can be inspiration. The hymn calling on all women to be revered, as you would your mother.
Now we see more girls are coming to the school. What do you think about the way the village is developing?
If a poor and uneducated woman can do so much, if women are educated and they come forward, this will bring a great change in society.
It's Hirboy's generosity that she believes in not only empowering older women, but younger ones too, by educating them. Because if one girl is well educated, then she is capable of teaching others and being empowered.
My husband dissuaded me from joining the cooperative, but even so I had go and attend the meetings with Hirbai. When he felt sick, he asked me for money. I asked him how he could ask me for money when he was the one who didn't let me join the cooperative. Nevertheless, I withdrew 5,000 rupees from the cooperative and took my husband to the hospital.
Do you ever wonder why God has made you a woman and burdened you with so many problems?
Thank God I am a woman. If I were a man, I would have done nothing. It's because I am a woman that I can accomplish so much. I'm happy to be a woman. I don't want to be a man.
Next, Ritu meets men who want to be women, if only for a day. A film on gender discrimination about to take a bizarre twist.